maybe, and just, let's say, leave it empty for now. And then the next thing we are going to need is actually something we can write a message with. So right below this ending of our scroll view, I am going to the text field. This is as simple as, like, we're going to say, okay, our message text is equal to, now let me think how it was. It was also the GUI layout element here, dot text field. It can also be text area, which is going to take as an input our message text inside. Now let's just have a look how this looks like. No, this can't really work yet. We can add that variable now. We can say, okay, add our escape string to it if the button was sent, plus the current message text inside our message area. So let's go ahead and test that. I'm going to run the game. Here we go. Here we have a small text area. So check now, every time I press send, it will just enter an escape character because our message text variable is empty. But if I enter some message here, it will actually write some message. That's cool. Now the thing is, now after I click send, I would want this area to be cleared, right? This is something we need to work on. And also, I do not want the player to be able to keep sending empty messages here, because this is really annoying. I mean, why allow sending empty messages? This will just clog up our system, especially if we add world chat into this text box here. Okay, so this is the next thing we can work on. I'm gonna be careful this time and actually close my simulator here, and let's go ahead. So what we actually need to do is, inside here it says, okay, if the button was pressed, we could add some more validators. So I'm gonna say, okay, if our message text is actually empty. This is not perfect yet, right? Because the user can actually add the space in his message box, then he can send empty messages. I think something up in the future. If this is actually empty, did I? Yes, we could add that in a bracket here so that they are all belonging to one validation. So if the GUI button send was hit, then the first thing I want to do is I want to make a validation if the message text variable is empty. If it is empty, we are going to cancel our operation here. Else, we can say, we can add this into a bracket. We can say, alright, now you can simply add the message to our text box here. Now let's see if that worked. No error messages, that's good. Now I'm going to send this, see, now this is actually not working. Now if I enter a space here and send, the user will still be able to send messages. But we are going to add a validator for that as well, so that if an empty space was been sent or only empty space characters are being sent, then this allows sending messages too. But for now, just to keep just to demonstrate the logic about this, let's just keep going. I'm going to add a validator for other possible characters that we don't want to be sending through our message box anyway. And maybe we can also control that on the server side, especially if it's like a chat, right? A public chat, then maybe our SmartFox server is going to recognize that the message is empty and actually say, no way, alright? So now there's still one thing we need to fix here. If okay, we can't send empty messages now, but once I actually send, I would want this text field to clear up so that I really don't need to keep deleting it the whole time, and simply like enter my new message. So what we can do is we can make sure that our message text variable, which is our message box, will be set to empty. That should do the trick. Let me just check that out. Compiling, no error message. Let's just try that. We said send. Here's our new message, and this was sent as well. And the starting message of our long string, this is a long string, it's actually very ugly. Let's go ahead and change that as well and say just messages here. There we go. Let me just save that. And now let's have a look. No, it didn't really work. Messages. Oh no, okay, it won't work because it's a public string, by the way. And that public string has, of course, a default value here, which we will need to reset. There we go here. What we can do actually here, we can like go here and say reset. No, it didn't do any resetting. Oh, now it did. That's good. Notice here now, if we run the game actually and click on our manager and look at our scroll position variable here, which is our like scroll view layout, that our Y position is being set to infinity. So every time we add a message here, there we go, now it clears up, our Y position increases, but it automatically jumps right to the lowest part of it. So that's very neat. Now let me think what we can do next. Okay. Now the next thing we can actually do is we will implement different parts of our script, sending messages to our scroll view here, scroll box. And we will also make sure maybe that if the user hits enter, that the message will be sent as well, not just by needing to press the send button, but also by while typing here, maybe hit the key enter and the message was sent as well. Right now, if I hit enter, nothing is happening, of course, because we haven't programmed anything to do so. The difficulty about using this GUI function here is that the normal input.key stroke functions won't work the same way as, maybe let me just show that to you. There's our player movement script here. Let me just open that player movement script. Remember that we have been using a lot of input.getKey, input.getKey down and stuff like that, and then defining something if that key has actually been pressed. This is for some reason not applicable within the GUI function. For that we will be needing to be using the event functions and then event current, event type and stuff like that. But I will reserve that in the future because that specific section deserves a little more explaining. In any case, that's one thing we still want to implement. If the user hits enter here, then we want the message to be sent as well. Then we want to implement different messages coming in, and after that we would want to implement our user actually sending public messages to all players. So if I actually press a send message here, that anyone else playing that game will see that, hey, okay, the user who dhans sent a message with the message. So, but a quick thing we could actually implement is adding a quick message into our, let me just check that, adding a quick message into our scroll box here by the network manager. So one nice thing we could actually do is, I mean, where would it make sense to add some message? Let me just think. On proximity list update, on user count change. Here we go. We can, here. At this point, the user actually enters the room, right? So what we can do is, we can do the same thing we actually did here. We can get our player, our GUI manager script by writing it into a variable here, maybe like variable other GUI manager script, and then since they are both on the same game object, we can just start with our get component here and say, okay, get me my GUI manager. There we go, and then cast it into an instance, the GUI manager. There we go. And all we actually need to do, now let me just think what we actually need to do. We will need to do the same thing as we did here. We need to get the long variable and add an escape string and some message to it. You can just actually copy this here out and see if we can do something with that. We could say, alright, GUI manager, where are you? There we go, GUI manager script dot, now it was the long integer variable, there we go, you are equal to, no, we had the long string already, and then of course we need to add the plus sign so that it adds it. We will need to add the escape string and say, what are we going to say? We are going to say, since we let me just think. Okay, since this is the on-join room and the message we are getting is actually a message only I will be getting, so it won't be a public message. You won't be really needing to be sending it to anyway, just an informative text to the user who was just able to log in. So you can say maybe welcome. Oh, we can add that text here. Welcome. And then we go, and then plus. Then this variable is available to us. There we go. Welcome, the name, and then maybe add to MORGUNI, then a dot, and then maybe we could say you are in room, and then you are in room space, you are in room, I mean we have here the room name, right? We can take this here since we are debug logging it anyway, and then finally add our dot to that message. Now I'm going to save that. Now let's just see if we have an error message here. There's something. Maybe I just have a syntax error here. There we go. Room name. Let's save that again and see no more error message and run up the game. We should get a welcome message. Welcome the Hans, of course, to MORGUNI. You are in room. Then we can clear actually that message here. That's cool, but let's just make sure that our spelling is somewhat okay. Welcome to MORGUNI. You are in room, since this is the only room we have, right? And anyway, does the user need the room ID really? No, not really. Then we have ourselves. Okay, it's cool. So this message is a message everyone will be getting in the future, and then maybe next time we will be adding. This will be requiring a new run and explaining. Remember that every time we, let me just check, set user position here. There we go. So every time a user, no, where are you? Here we go. Remember that we have here a list of changed user variables. No, I want to have the list of updated AOI. There we go, here we go. This we have a list of users who have been added or are being removed from our AOI. And I was thinking that maybe we can make public messages out of this. So every time a user, it doesn't even need to be public, but every time a user actually gets added to our AOI, that we also get the message like user so and so is within your area of interest, or user so and so left your area of interest. So small little helpful messages to user we will be integrating by using this method here, simply updating the long string variable inside our GUI script. There we go. That's cool. Maybe we can add this here to the starting message of our long string. That should do the trick. Now let's just see if this is clean. That looks good. That looks good. So I'm not going to do this inside a video because I mean it's the same concept. All I will be doing is updating the long script here. I will be integrating in our network manager down here into the list of added. There we go. I'm having difficulty finding this. Here we go. Into the list of added or removed users within our AOI. So every time I actually say, okay, instantiate me that other player, I'm gonna add a message here. Hey, user so and so entered your AOI. Or and we have here, and then for each user that has been removed, we actually destroy the user here and also add a small message that user so and so has left your AOI. Okay, I'm gonna add these, but not within the video, and the other stuff that are still missing I talked about, we will integrate the next time. I hope you liked it. Thank you very much. Don't forget to rate and subscribe. See you next time. Bye bye.